A very big welcome to the Get Ready for Race Equality 3 months to go event. In fact, it's only 10 weeks to go. So I'm Raj Tulsiani, Chief Executive Officer of Green Park, award-winning global executive search and leadership advisory company, 20 years old next year. And alongside Javid from the Collaboratory, we're the co-founders of Race Equality Matters. As always, a bit of housekeeping. To make the events more accessible, when you register, we ask you for any accessibility arrangements we can offer to support. We try our best to meet your needs. We do have limited resources, so we can't do everything for everyone, but we are mindful that there is plenty of difference in our network, in our group. This event is being recorded. The breakout sessions are not being recorded, and you'll have access to the recording of the main event next week. Closed captioning is enabled in the main session. There's also a link in the chat for captioning during the virtual breakout room, which we will ask Anna to share again later. During this session, your sound will be auto-disabled to minimize the distraction to others. So please do share ideas and questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to respond. If you're using accessibility features, please be aware that the chat can become quite active after the breakout sessions. So you may want to turn off notification sounds if pings bother you. So over the next action-packed hour and a quarter, we've got loads of stuff lined up for you. As always, we're going to try and keep things moving and interactive and on point. So what can you expect today? You have your say in the State of the Nation live poll, highlights from Race Equality Week 2025, get a live experience of the brand new 2026 5-day challenge, which we're all excited by. You'll hear what's ahead for Race Equality Week 2026, including events, resources, and everything available for you to power your plans. An opportunity to collaborate and connect as you share your thoughts, challenges, and ideas for REW Race Equality Week 2026. And then we will wrap up on time at 1:45. One of our aims for today is for you all who have choices and don't have to be here, so we appreciate you being here, for you all to leave with 50 practical, hopefully inspiring, but definitely actionable ideas for you to consider with your organisation and get ready for Race Equality Week to drive real, meaningful change in tackling race equality. For us, it's always intersectional, it's always multi-layered, it's always, more than anything else, pragmatic and co-created. So we're not here to tick boxes, we're here to help people who want to make change and move things forward. For those that are new, here's a quick overview of Race Equality Matters exists. We tackle the issues that matter the most to our community. It's about 25,000 people actively taking part in community issues. 6 million people took part or were touched by Race Equality Week last year in over 6,000 companies. We're interested in making equality and specifically race equality everyone's business. And we fill the gaps and do what others are not doing. We co-create the solutions with the community, as I mentioned, and that's very important. These solutions are driven by data and community research, but they're also specific problems that people face that we want to help loosen up and fix. So currently we have 8,088 organizations engaged, and the focus for us is on impact. But I just want to say thank you to Javid, Anna, the whole team. Getting us to 8,000 organizations is incredible. We are literally doing this off the back of a fag packet in our spare time, and it's turned into a wider campaign than we ever thought possible. We've got 25,433 change makers helping co-create solutions, test them, and run them to make an impact in their organizations. There's also loads of insight and data that comes back on what's working, where things get blocked. Over 500,000 data points from our State of the Nation surveys, community surveys, research, one-to-one interviews, collaboratory focus groups, Green Park audits. There's just loads of stuff. So we think we know what the issues are. You're telling us why things are not working, and together we're trying to make an impact. We use the data to inform what new solutions we're going to do and tweak what we've done in the past to make sure it's on point and relevant. The stuff that you might know or remember us from, It's Not Micro, 1.75 billion hits in its first month, looking at how to tackle microaggressions and micro instabilities in the workplace. We didn't make a penny out of that. The 5-day challenge, tea break, my name is, actually I've got my name is and It's Not Micro mixed up. It's my name is, that was the big campaign. Safe Space Plus and the Big Promise. To support the people who support us, these solutions include how to do it right, implementation guides and workshops. We also run a series of virtual events throughout the year. And what we're trying to do continually is listen and then reflect the know-how, the skills, and the resources that our communities have been asking for. Many of those are still free, but our solutions are not there to tick boxes. They're designed to make a real difference, and you can see that they achieve that by the percentages on screen. Everything we create is built in collaboration with those with lived experience, people who know something about race inequality, allies who want to make sure that their organizational culture delivers what they said it would do, particularly in this polarized and asymmetric world in which we now live in. So none of this would be possible without the community support and the sponsors that help us. You tell us that we make a difference, and it's only possible because our mission is powered by partnership. Everything we do has to be funded, and the partners that committed to helping us tackle race inequality we're massively grateful for. So special thanks to Lloyd's of London and my firm Green Park for allowing me to do this and put time and energy and effort into it from the start till today. We're also proud to work alongside the Collaboratory, Jarvid's firm, BT, Auto Trader, who've been immense, HS2, Direct Line, Amy, Network Rail, CMS, and our latest partner, Navona. So before we jump into the session, we're going to kick it off with a quick State of the Nation's poll.
Okay, thank you all for completing the State of the Nation poll. So in the room, it's more or less 50-50. So 48% are allies and 51% ethnically diverse or appropriate equivalent. So welcome all. Question 2, what role do you play in your organisation? So 16% are senior leaders, 11% HR, 30% are 1 in 3 diversity and inclusion leads, which is quite normal for this event. 18% Race Network members, 23% network leads, and then 21% other. Question 3, has your organisation participated in Race Equality Week previously? So 48%, so nearly half yes. So that means 50% no or not sure. Question 4, how is your organisation addressing race inequality? So only 25%, so that's 1 in 4, focus on action, not just words. So 75% aren't focusing on the action. 59% talks and does a little bit of action, so we need to move that 59% into the focus on action. And then 12% just talks, does little or does nothing. Question 5, has your organisation done anything that has made a noticeable impact in tackling race inequality? So 44% of you saying yes. So we'd love to hear from you, because these events and all our events are all about showcasing or shining a light on what works or what organisations are doing that's making the impact. So thank you for sharing that. Question 6, does your organisation help make tackling race inequality everyone's business? So 49% saying yes. So that's half of you say yes, and that's fantastic because it has to be everyone's business. And then there's a 51% saying no or not sure. It can't be on the shoulders of a few, Race Network leads, the ethnically diverse community, or HR or D&I. It has to be everyone's business. Question 7, does your organisation have constructive organisation-wide discussions about race inequality? So 55% saying yes, so that's really good. I think it's higher than we've had before, but it's still leaving 45% saying no or not sure. Question 8. Which has your organisation implemented any of the following race equality matters solutions? So it's not micro, 10%. 32% saying the 5-day challenge, which is usually the highest, so that's 1 in 3, and hopefully we'll get more of you to consider it after today's session. Tea break, 10%. Safe space plus 4%. Big promise, 14%, which is connected to the 5-day challenge. And then my name is 19%. We can see 37% saying none of the above. So go onto our website. Many of the solutions are for free, and they're perfect for running during Race Equality Week. And final question 9, what impact does having a diversity, equity or equality inclusion calendar have? What impact does a DEI calendar have? So 26% saying you don't have a DEI calendar, and then 55% saying little impact or some impact. Only 19% saying significant impact or very significant impact. So that's something we'll be looking at further down the line. You know, we all have these DEI calendars, or the majority of organisations do, but are they making a difference? So thank you all for contributing to the State of the Nation poll. Okay, so to set the scene, what we'll do is we'll just show a short video which brings Race Equality Week to life.
This year's theme is Every Action Counts, a powerful reminder that change doesn't just come from big moments or grand gestures. It's built through small, everyday actions that we can all take.
It's Race Equality Week this week, and what that means to me is having a space where people can feel valued, bring their true self to work, and creating a space where we can celebrate each other.
Everyone knows that engagement leads to productivity, but what we're saying is through getting involved in Race Equality Week, you can also increase inclusion, and that inclusion then increases your engagement.
We are also celebrating Race Equality Week and our commitment to raising living standards for everyone, putting more money into people's pockets through measures like ethnicity pay gap reporting. These initiatives demonstrate our commitment to fostering a more equal and inclusive society where everyone's dignity and rights are respected.
I've already created my poster with Proud to Support Race Equality Week and dropped my picture in, so thank you for that.
When you start with diversity and inclusion work, you focus on events, but then you get more specific interventions around recruitment, around career progression, etc. And then the ultimate objective, really, to be sure that you're focusing on the right things, is to be able to measure the impact of these things.
including the senior leadership team, was so passionate about fostering an inclusive environment. And trust me, that really helped us to increase our visibility and also just to open doors for us.
And here at DLG, I'm working alongside my colleagues, undertaking a 5-day challenge. And that 5-day challenge is all associated with Race Equality Matters, which is all about a simple but powerful way to spark reflection, have great conversation, and start instigating change.
It's Pete Miles from the Environment Agency, and I'm doing the 5-day challenge.
I'm Gaia from ThoughtWorks, and I'm doing the 5-day challenge.
I'm Clark from High Speed 2, and I'll be doing the 5-day challenge.
سلام من شکوه هستم از چالش و من
And I also said that I would report on how we're doing in relation to ethnically diverse talent. I'm really proud to say this year, the corporation has achieved 39% of ethnically diverse hires.
This week has made me go, yes, I can. Yes, I will. And it's about action, not just words. So for me, this week has been inspiring. I've put here motivated today. I've been energized.
Thank you. So you see what's happened in 2025, and we'd love for some of you to be in a 2026 video. So share what you're doing, send your clips and everything, and we'll be in touch with you about that. So let's look ahead to Race Equality Week 2026, taking place from the 2nd to the 8th of February, and it's always the first month in February. And the best place to start is the theme. So each year, the Race Equality Matter community, yourselves, selects a new theme to shape and inspire the week. Previous themes have included Let's Not Go Back to Normal, Action, Not Just Words, It's Everyone's Business, Listen, Act, Change, and last year, Every Action Counts. So for 2026, the community has chosen, drum roll please, so if you've got your drums out or bang your tables, and it's Change Needs All of Us. This isn't just a theme, it's a call to action. It's a reminder that every single one of us has a role to play, and that to break down the barriers of inequality, allies are not optional, they are essential. As Helen Keller, who's deaf and blind, said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And that is exactly why change needs all of us. So why is this more important now more than ever? As we're seeing daily on the news, all the challenges people are facing that look or sound different, this year, 85% of respondents to our polls told us they know someone themselves or others who have experienced microaggressions. That's happening all the time. Only 35% said their organization is focusing on actions, not just words. So think about how many are just talking it. And 51% told us their organization has done nothing with a noticeable impact. And here is the impact when we do nothing. In a recent survey, 83% of employees said they left their organizations because they felt they didn't belong. And a further 15% have thought about leaving because they don't feel they belong. So this means 98% of our workforces are at risk of leaving. And when we need talent, this is a real issue and cost to the business. So the drive for race equality is being carried out only by a few, which makes it a very slow and lonely battle. That's why change needs all of us, not just race network leaders, not just DI and HR or organization leaders. It needs every single person, because change isn't created just by a handful of people. It's created by us all. And that's the message behind change needs all of us. No matter who you are, no matter where you work, and no matter how much influence you think you have, as Raj says, we need to all be active allies in this. And everyone can make a difference. And when we do something, even if it's something so small, it's like a drop of water to create a wave of movement. And we need you all to help us, these drops, get together to be this wave of movement by engaging your colleagues in your organizations. And we, Race Equality Matters, are there to help you. One powerful and time efficient way to do this is through the 5-day challenge. So for those new to it, because a lot of were not aware of it, we're going to show a quick video about it.
RaceEqualityMatters.com, Race Equality Week, powered by Green Park and Lloyds of London, from the 2nd to the 8th of February 2026. Hashtag change needs all of us. What are you doing for Race Equality Week 2026?
I'm doing the 5-day challenge.
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 So what is the 5-day challenge? 5 challenges that take 5 minutes, 5 days to change the world. There are 5 daily challenges, each with a daily theme, with an eye-opener for each day and videos for each theme. And each challenge takes just 5 minutes. Additionally, this year there will be extra bonus content and additional resources. So what is good about the 5-day challenge?
The 5 minutes bit. So we do a lot of these in our kind of bystander training, our allyship, unconscious bias, disarmament, discrimination. We have a recovery college that co-produce all of these courses. But the bit for me was the 5 minutes over the 5 days. I really think it's a great concept. We can take it into our board, we can take it into our senior leadership events, etc. And there's no excuse for people not to do it. That's the thing. It's about really creating time. No one can say, we haven't got time to do this, Sharon, so no excuse.
87% believe it will have an impact. Thousands of organisations across the UK are doing the 5-day challenge, reaching over 1 million employees.
We're doing the 5-day challenge.
It's also happening across the world. Join us and take the 5-day challenge. Individually,
I am doing the 5-day challenge.
I am doing the 5-day challenge.
Or you can do it collectively.
Green Park are doing the 5-day challenge. We're doing the 5-day challenge.
We're doing the 5-day challenge.
Doing the 5-day challenge.
Thank you. So one of the reasons the 5-day challenge is so impactful is that, next slide, please. It raises awareness, it builds knowledge, and encourages behavioral change. But many organizations invest in one or two of these areas. But for real, lasting impact, it requires all three, working together consistently. That's exactly what the 5-day challenge was created to help organizations strengthen all three of these elements at the same time. and drive meaningful, sustainable change. And one of the 2025 participants summed it up brilliantly. It keeps race inequality at the front of people's minds, but in a non-threatening and a non-judgmental way. It calls people in rather than call people out, and you'll experience a 5-day challenge shortly to see what it's like. The message is clear. It works, it's needed, and it's growing. So let's make 2026 our biggest and most impactful year yet. So how does it work? So let's just see a video of someone that did run it.
How did Breaking Barriers prepare for the 5-day challenge during Race Equality Week 2025?
We used the week as a bit of a springboard for our work on anti-racism. So we were really keen that it didn't feel like a one-off or a tick box exercise. So to help with that, we first tried to kind of set the scene by introducing Race Equality Week in a people team update in one of our all-staff meetings. And that was a couple of weeks before the week itself. The week before, we then used our monthly DEI catch-up to kind of dive a bit deeper. Then put some optional holds in everybody's diary, just 15-minute holds at the beginning of the day.
How did you run the 5-day challenge 2025?
A host from our senior leadership team and our DEI working group would introduce the daily topic, play the brilliant daily video, and then share the links and the resources for the activities. And staff would then be encouraged to spend some time individually kind of going through all of the information.
How is that different to when you ran it last year in 2024?
Last year, we sent out the blog with all of those activities and resources, and then just used one of our DEI catch-ups as a space for discussion and reflection. We actually found that not many people on the call had the chance to look at the resources, which made meaningful discussion at that time a little bit difficult. So completely understandable. We're a fast-paced organisation and people are busy. So this year, putting the 15-minute holds on each of the days so that we could kick off those activities together really helped. 15 minutes, it's a short amount of time, hopefully really encourages people to attend, and watching the video together, sort of allowing for those initial reflections in a shared space, really gave a sense of community and built a bit of momentum as well. So this meant we had a lot more involvement from colleagues across the organisation. And I think also having a different host each day from our DEI working group and from our senior leadership team, which we kind of informed people of ahead of the activities, sort of showcased that it was an initiative being taken really seriously across the organisation. So we actually had our CEO, our Director of Income and Engagement, and our Director of People each hosting an activity. We had hosts coming from a diverse range of backgrounds, meaning that there was some personal reflection from colleagues from a global majority background as well as allies, and that made those conversations feel kind of all the more meaningful. And we always try to share information in a variety of ways to acknowledge different learning styles and communication preferences. And then we also, so with that in mind, we shared a blog the week before, and that included all of that information as well, all of those videos and links. And that also meant that anyone unable to attend could still carve out some of the time in their diaries to take part individually.
What was the impact?
The fact that we had our CEO leading one of those activities as part of our all-staff meeting meant that actually 83% of our staff attended at least one of the activities, which is really, really encouraging. We did also have a lot of kind of positive ad hoc feedback on the events and the activities, which was really nice to see. Upskilling and empowering staff through initiatives such as Race Equality Week can have that impact on staff culture, as well as things like improving productivity and hopefully retention. So we continue to measure that where we can and hope to see continued improvement.
Thank you, Dan. Dan is a hugely proactive and supportive member of Race Equality Matters community. She did that at Breaking Barriers, and then a new organisation, Diabetes UK, she's going to be running that, and obviously contributed with other members of the community to this year's, the 2026 one. So big thank you, Danny. So we'll just do a quick, super quick poll, 3 quick simple questions. So before we go to the 5-day challenge, have you heard of the 5-day challenge before? 64% saying yes and 36% saying no. So welcome to the new people here for it, but then also welcome back to those that have heard about it before. And yeah, at the end of today, you'll all hear about it and know what it's about and the impact it can make. Has your organisation taken part in the 5-day challenge previously? So 32% saying yes, and the rest 50% saying no, and then 18% saying not sure, and that's fine. And have you personally taken part in the 5-day challenge previously? And it's 36%. So 1 in 3 of you here saying, yes, you have. So again, hopefully after today's event, you'll understand the difference it can make and will personally take part or encourage your organizations to take part. So thank you for that. What we're now going to do is we're going to do a live run through of the 5-day challenge, but conscious of time, what we're going to do is we'll just do two of the days and then show you what are in the other days, but you just get a real experience of it. So the themes we're going to be talking about is stereotyping, which will be day 1, the bystander effect day 2, how communication styles lead to misunderstanding, the allyship gap, being an ally versus an active ally, and then the big promise. So let's get going. So day 1 is stereotyping. So, and this is basically, these are the assets you get in the pack. So do we make assumptions about others before we even know them? So here's an eye opener, which we start off with. So all have a think about how would you answer this question. So if you're visiting a new place and got lost, who would you feel comfortable approaching for help with directions? So which of these people would you ask for help? An Asian man? A man with tattoos and piercings on their face? A Muslim woman wearing a hijab? A black man in a wheelchair? A white policeman? A black teenager? A woman begging for money seated on a blanket with a child? An Asian policewoman? So just have a think about that. And so what made you choose your answer? Some of you may tick all of them, some none of them, some 1 or 2 of them. So why did you not tick them all? Have a think about that. Next slide, please. So just going to show a quick video which kind of explains a bit of this. This will be in Italian, but we've got the subtitles on.
Quale bambola è bianca? Quale bambola è nera? Quale delle 2 è bella?
Questa.
Qual è quella bella? Qual è quella brutta? E qual è quella buona? Quale è cattiva? Qual è buona?
Lei.
Perché è buona?
Perché ha gli occhi celesti.
Quale è cattiva? Perché è cattiva?
Perché è tutto nero.
E qual è la bambola che ti somiglia di più? Quale bambola è nera?
Mi ha offeso. Tu. Perché mi hai chiamato nera?
Perché ti offendi?
Mi offendi perché altri bambini mi hanno offeso con cattiveria.
No, io non ho usato nessuna cattiveria.
Quello mi sta guardando storto.
So powerful, so young. So how do they learn that? Okay, so choices like this that we just did earlier are often informed by stereotypes, like them young children. Stereotypes are ideas we share about certain groups of people, which make generalizations about some of their characteristics. So we typically see someone, and within seconds, we make an assumption about who they are. Stereotyping is when we make assumptions about people based on how they look, act, speak, or sound, instead of getting to know them for who they really, really are. We all stereotype others, and we all may experience being stereotyped ourselves. However, those who are seen as different experience it far more frequently, often in a negative way that affects their opportunities, choices, and well-being. So quantitative that we've gathered, ethnic diverse employees are 8.5 times more likely to feel stereotyped at work because of their race and ethnicity more than white employees. Stereotypes can guide our thinking and decision making, for example, on whether someone can be trusted or if they will be a good fit for our organization. Black people are often stereotyped as aggressive or intimidating, which can lead to reduced mentorship and a lack of trust from colleagues and supervisors. So why do we stereotype people? So look at this, let's call it messy room. So imagine walking to a very messy room, like a child's bedroom, with toys of all kinds scattered everywhere. To move around more quickly and easily, we begin to tidying up and sorting the toys into different boxes based on certain features they share. Exactly, the cars in the toy box, the dolls in the doll box, the Lego in the Lego box. This is similar to how our minds work when trying to make sense of the world around us. We sort things into mental boxes to help us process and understand information quickly. So something with 4 legs and barks is probably a dog. Something with green leaves and a brown trunk is likely a tree. We do the same with people, grouping them into categories based on traits we perceive as different to our own, such as skin color, e.g., black people or white people. Gender, whether a man or woman, and age, young or old, or body size, slim or overweight. We give these groups labels so we can quickly assume what someone is like and what to expect from them. These assumptions are stereotypes, and they aren't always right. So let's have a look at this man here. So if we see him, most people would stereotype him as aggressive, cannot be trusted, drug dealer, lacks intelligence, thief, misfit. That's typical. That can create serious harm for him, leading to depression, anxiety, feeling of isolation, has to mask, as I said, lower their voice, talk quietly or softly, overlooked in job opportunities, and reduced performance just because of how we perceive them to be. So do we think we know this person? So here's Amadou, and he's a university professor and caring father of 2 children. He was born in London. He has a PhD. He has never used drugs, never been violent, and never traveled to any African country. But many won't think any of that when they look at him. So here's another example. So when we see someone in hijab, submissive, not fit for leadership, terrorist, oppressed, can't speak English, won't fit in. Again, this affects her self-esteem, her anxiety. She feels shame, feels out of place. She knows she's overlooked in the promotions, and she has pressure to fit in and meet expectations. So do we think we know her? But this is Fatima, a lawyer with a brilliant career working for the Crown. She's not married and doesn't have any children. She's an advocate for equality. She loves art and traveling around the world. But even with all she's achieved, she still doesn't feel safe in public spaces because of all assumptions people make about her as a Muslim woman, and it's tougher right now. So when we place people into boxes, we risk judging them based on assumptions rather than who they really are. And we stop seeing them as full, complex, amazing, inspiring human beings. Even when stereotypes sound like compliments, like black people are good dancers or women are gentle and caring, this can still hurt. Not all black people are good dancers, and women should be expected to be gentle and caring. People can be forced into a box they didn't choose, or like no one sees who they truly are as individuals, but only as a label attached to them. No one is born believing in harmful stereotypes. They are learned over time. The good news is they can be unlearned. So what's one thing you've learned from today's challenge? What might you do differently from now on when you see someone? And overleaf, here are some actions. So in the 5-day challenge, there'll be a list of actions, and it's just look at them and just think about doing one of them. So here's some examples. So avoid generalization, learn to recognize and avoid stereotypes. So avoid generalizations implying that all people from a certain group are the same. For example, women are emotional, Asians are good at maths. Chat amongst colleagues. Which stereotypes do you see or hear often? Which ones do you experience? Next time you're watching TV or a movie, pay attention to whether any characters are shown in a typical way. And again, see people who they are, not just the group they belong to. Take time to get to know people and colleagues as individuals. Listen to their stories with empathy and challenge your own perceptions. Call out stereotypes and microaggressions. Speak up when you hear biased remarks, even if they're meant just as a joke, but the recipient is typically not a joke and it hurts. So that'll be the end of day 1. And if you want to know more, we've got some bonus content that's available. And that takes another 3 or 4 minutes. And then there's additional resources. If you want to do a much deeper dive, there's more deeper resources to support you and your organizations if you want to learn more about stereotyping. And this is being contributed by the community. That's day 1. So day 2 is the bystander effect. Have you ever witnessed a colleague being treated unfairly and noticed no one stepped in? So the eye opener for today, have a think about this. Eberici is an employee of Nigerian heritage, and he's recently joined the organization during a team meeting. He introduces himself to his colleagues. While he speaks, one team member interrupts, saying, "Foreign names are too hard for me to pronounce. I'm going to call you Eb from now on." The room falls quiet. Everyone looks around, unsure how to react. Some team members feel uncomfortable, but no one says anything. They assume someone else will speak up or that Eberici will address it himself. Eberici pauses for a moment, clearly unsettled, but continues with his introduction without comment. The meeting moves on as if nothing happens. So how would you react if that happened in your organization? Do nothing because it's not your business? You're aware you should do something, but I wouldn't want to know how to handle the situation. I'm aware I should do something, but I would be afraid of my peers' judgment. I would step in, but only if someone else stepped in. I would step in right away, even if no one else did, and try to call out the microaggression. I would go and comfort Eberici after the meeting to see how he felt about the situation. I would go and speak with a team member in private, explaining that they should not say certain things. So how did you feel while exploring the situation above? And what made you choose this answer? So this is happening to people who've got different names that most people don't feel comfortable saying, and we try to get away from our uncomfortableness and make it easy for ourselves, but it makes Eberici uncomfortable. Next slide, please. So let's watch a video to explain this a bit more.
I'm not 100% sure why I'm being asked to share this story, but I'm guessing it's because somebody needs to hear it. When I was 16, I went into what I thought was going to be a normal day at biology class. And when I walked in, all the desks were arranged in a circle in the middle of the room. And the instructor, who had always been a really amazing, loving, kind instructor, was super militant, super scary, and just looked at us and said, "Sit down, shut up. You are not allowed to move, to speak at all, and anyone who does will immediately fail my class." And we were all stunned. I get like just thinking about it, because I was a straight A student and grades were really important to me, and I was just like terrified. So we're all sitting there silently, nervous out of our minds. And in the middle of this circle that we were all sitting in, there was one desk. And on this desk was a bowl with a goldfish in it. And he looked at us and he took the goldfish and he put it on the desk and he walked out and he shut the door. And we all just looked at each other. We're just like, what do we do? You know, like, obviously it violated like everything inside of me to like watch this fish die. And also, I heard the instruction. If you speak, if you get up, if you move, you will automatically fail the class. And so we all sat there looking to each other to do something because we didn't want it to be us. And what was a very painful, it felt like an eternity. It was probably like 2.5 minutes later. Hannah B, got up and said, and took the goldfish and put it back in the bowl. And when she did that, he came out and he looked at all of us and he said, look what the world has done to you. You've betrayed yourself. For what? And I think about that lesson all the time because I learned in that moment that I am never going to be that person ever again. That when I see something that is wrong, even if it's just me, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do what's right. And I've done that over and over again in my life in very scary situations. But I'm sad for people who haven't learned that lesson because there are so many things that are wrong that if you're too scared to make a difference, you won't make right.
Wonderful, Gia Goodrich. So thank you for that. So why do you think it's hard for people to step in when they see others in need of support? The reason is the bystander effect. The bystander effect is a common human reaction that happens without us realizing it. When we witness a person in a challenging situation or in need of help, for example, being discriminated, harassed, or in distress, we are less likely to step in to help if there are others around who also see it happening. In fact, the more people there are, the less likely it is anyone will take action. So, for example, this person, nobody sees me, I don't matter help, they're struggling. Other people think, I'm sure they're fine, I'm too busy right now. What if they don't need my help? It's not my business. This is what happens in the workplace and our communities every day. There are many causes to the bystander effect, and here are the main 4. Someone else will step in, so this is a diffusion of responsibility. We are less likely to help if we feel that responsibility doesn't fall only on us. For example, when there are others around. What if I become a target of disapproval? This is evaluation apprehension. We get anxious to help, so anxious we can freeze. We overthink, is my assistance welcome? What if I do something wrong and make the situation worse? What will others think about me? What if something I say or do draws uncomfortable attention to me? It makes us opt out. Third one, is my help needed at all? This is where it's ambiguity or uncertainty. We're not so sure. So when a situation is ambiguous and it's unclear whether someone actually needs our help, we unconsciously rely on others' judgment and behavior to decide whether that situation requires our intervention. If no one else steps forward, why should I? What if they don't want my help and I am insulting them by trying to help? And then, okay, I want to step in, but what should I do? Not knowing how to help. Even if we really want to step in, sometimes we don't feel equipped or confident to intervene in a safe and effective way. So which of these can we relate to as individuals when we see something that we think is not quite right? The bystander effect and race inequality. Bystanders often do not step in when microaggressions happen. According to data from Race Equality Matters in the Collaboratory, 83% of ethnically diverse colleagues said that microaggressions often remain unchallenged in their organization. When someone is put down or disrespected and no one says anything, it's often because others don't feel the sting. But a silence doesn't take away the hurt for the person experiencing it. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor, as Desmond Tutu said. So we need to become upstanders. And this is a step-by-step model for bystander intervention. So firstly, the event happens. Second thing is notice something is happening. So you see something happening. Interpret the situation as needing help. Then accept the responsibility for stepping and helping. Then know how to help. And then help. So how can you help? So distract. What you can do is shift attention to diffuse the situation. In London, we hear about on the tube, if you see someone possibly being harassed, you step in, what's the time or what's the next stop? Direct, step in or check in with the person affected. Delay and delegate. So wait to intervene when you think it's safe or appropriate, or seek assistance for others if you think it's not safe at the time. Not everyone feels safe or comfortable speaking up, especially if they are from ethnically diverse background, are in a minority, or do not speak English fluently. If you don't feel you have a voice, you can report the harmful behavior privately to a manager, HR, or through anonymous reporting options your workplace may offer. The important thing is to do something. Say nothing can let the behavior continue, and we know it does. So what's the one thing you learned from today's challenge? What might you do differently from now on? And below are some actions to help. So again, what you can do, play your part in making race equality everyone's business in your organization. So when you see something, step in. Listen to how your body feels. If you feel something's not right, it probably isn't, and that's your cue to step in. Gain confidence by practicing how to become an upstander. Have a go at practicing what you do in a situation, to the eye opener we had about Eberici earlier. On your own, write down what you might say and try reading out loud. With others, practice with team, colleagues, friends, family, to the role play, and try out different ways of stepping in. We need to become natural. At the moment, it's uncomfortable because it's not natural. Okay, so this will be the end of day 2. And as long, there's be bonus if you want to learn a bit more, another 3 to 5 minutes or something. And then again, there's additional resources if you want to do the deeper dive. I'm just going to touch on days 3 and 4 conscious time. What you could do in organizations is do a breakout, or I think like Danny said, talk about it. So you do your 5-day and then let's talk about it. What can we do to become a more of an upstander in the future? So these are little things you can do during your sessions. So day 3 is about how do communication styles lead to misunderstandings. So why do we respond so differently to the same words? So I'll just share the eye opener with you. So after a job interview, the recruiter politely tells you, it was a real pleasure to meet you. We thoroughly enjoyed the conversation and how you brought all your relevant experience to life. We've already seen a number of candidates, so we'll definitely be giving you a ring shortly. What do they mean? The interview went well, and they will let you know you got the position. They will take the time before letting you know. They will be in touch soon to tell you that you didn't get the job. So how do you know? So that scenario, you could experience the same conversation, but the outcome is different. So have you ever experienced something similar? Perhaps you thought you would get the job, but you didn't. Or perhaps you thought you wouldn't get the job and you did. What causes that ambiguity? It's the communication styles. Sometimes people mean exactly what they say, but other times they say one thing and mean something else. That's direct and indirect communication. Most of the time, we don't really know what they mean. We just assume we do. So in this pack, and this is where misunderstandings happen. So there'll be a video. We haven't got time to play it. So if we can move on, please. And then basically, we're just going to go. So you'll get more visuals. So showing the difference, how we understand certain people, how we don't understand certain people. And this is direct and indirect recipients. And then there's actions we can take at the end of it. So this has been an edited down version for yourselves. And again, you get to the end. Again, we'll have bonus content and additional resources. Day 4, the allyship gap, being an ally versus an active ally. So have you ever done any of the following to support your ethnically diverse and other minorities colleagues? So I've tried to understand more about their experiences, challenging the barriers they face. I reflected on my own biases. I offered support to a colleague who was suffering or struggling. I helped ensure the voice was being heard in a meeting. I sponsored, mentored, or advocate for a colleague. I spoke up when someone experienced a microaggression. I took action when a colleague was treated unfairly. So this is what an active ally would do. So how many times do we do these things? Okay, if we just whiz through these now, Sam. So again, there'll be lots of visuals, lots of stats, and lots of data. This brings it all to light to let people understand about the allyship gap. Again, do's and don'ts. What is an active ally and what's not an active ally? And again, there's some actions you can take on the back of it. And it's just take one action. If you can do more, that's fantastic. And this is for your colleagues. And again, you get additional resources afterwards. So when we get to day 5, so we learned all week, and it's all about making a big promise and making a commitment on the back of it. So if we just whiz to the slide where we show how it works. So there's a tool online that you can access. So basically, you just type in your name and you tick a box. You know, are you an ally? Are you a scene leader? Are you ethnically diverse? So you just tick a box there. This all takes less than 1 minute. And then there's different promises you can make to make a difference. Tick 1 or up to 7. There are a magnificent 7 different promises for different groups. And then you get a sort of kind of postcard visual that's great for social media. You upload your image as Donna would have done here. And then basically you can post this and on social media and everything. So what would be brilliant is for your organization to launch this through social media. Some organizations print it off and put it in their canteens or their receptions. So just share and chat, just 30 seconds on how you think the 5-day challenge can make an impact. And what we'll do is we'll collect this and share it all with you. So it gives you the kind of the tools, or I suppose the business case, why organizations do this. So why do you think this can make an impact, or how it will make an impact? Don't worry about typos, spellings. We'll correct it and clean it up after. Do it in bullet points. I'll just give you 30 seconds for that. So we'll support the project manager leads. You know, there's a how to implement it guide, which talks you all about it, and top tips like what Danny would have shared previously. And we'd just like to say thank you to all these people that contributed and shared their thoughts, fed back. You know, we got to about version 99 for some of the 5-day challenges before it's ready to go. So thank you to all these wonderful people, and they're acknowledged in the guide. One thing we have to share is things are tough at the moment, and we have an announcement. Race Equality Matters want to ensure we're still here in 5 years to support you and your organizations with its race and wider equality work. We know that things are incredibly tough right now for organizations, especially those working to address race and other inequalities. Many of you shared openly with us the pressure on your own budgets, the cuts you're facing, and the increasing demand for meaningful DEI work. But it's also a financially challenging time for us as a not-for-profit. For the past 5 years, more than 90% of everything we do has been free, made possible by our wonderful funding partners Raj touched upon earlier. But to continue supporting you and to ensure we are still here in the years ahead, we need to take a sustainable approach. We're not introducing prices, we're introducing sustainability. We do remain committed to equitable access. The 5-day challenge has grown far beyond what we ever expected to create, design, and deliver the challenge for Race Equality Week in 2025, including resources, events, and support. It cost us £68,800. We've absorbed these costs for as long as possible because we believe deeply in the importance of race equity. But to keep going and not be a wuss, we need to generate income to fund this work sustainably and be here beyond next year. We need to be clear and reassuring. Race Equality Week, including events, support resources, and participation, is still free. Your involvement, your voices, and your communities matter. We're committed to ensuring that nobody loses access to the platform and community we built together. And we're committed to keeping the 5-day challenge accessible, equitable, and sustainable. However, to continue delivering high quality resource support, we've introduced a simple, what we believe, fair pricing structure based on organization size. Next slide, please. If your organization already a Race Equality Matters member, this is bonus and free for you for membership organizations. And Anna will put a link if you want to be a future member. For other organizations, you can access it as follows. If you've got 1,000 plus employees, it'll be £399, but that's equivalent to 39 pence or less per employee for that. For medium organizations with 250 to 999 employees, it's £199, and that's worth 20 to 80 pence per employee for that whole stack. And for smaller organizations with less than 250 employees, £99. But if your organization generally has no available budget for DI work, you can register using our solidarity rate. So the suggestion of making a donation of £25 to £75, whatever you can afford. And we introduce option to ensure charities, volunteer-led networks, public sector bodies under real budget pressure can still access it. And again, there's also, if your organization doesn't support you, as an individual, you can purchase it for a license for £15. For everyone here today, you can access an early bird discount. So we'll give 20% off that. We'll send you a link so you can just register for the early bird discount, which will expire 31st December. If we could just have a quick poll up, please, Sam. So having gone through the 5-day challenge, do you think the 5-day challenge will help colleagues better understand some of the key issues related to race inequality? And it's 94%. So, I can see many are in the room today were co-creators of the 5-day challenge, as well as the wider community. So that's why 94% think it will help colleagues understand some of the key issues related to race inequality. Question 2. In comparison to other diversity and inclusion initiatives, how effective would you rate the 5-day challenge in tackling race inequality? So more effective and significantly more effective is 92%. Same saying 50%, and only 2% saying less effective. And we'd love to understand why you think it'd be less effective. But 92%, so 82% say more or significantly more effective than other inclusion initiatives. Question 3, in your opinion, which of this year's themes will make an impact? So stereotyping, 63%, communication styles and impact, communication styles and misunderstandings, 54%, the bystander effect intervention, 77%, and the allyship gap, 65%. So thank you all for sharing that. Question 4, do you think the 5-day challenge will help tackle race inequality in your organization? And that's a high 92% saying yes. Question 5, is your organization plan to implement the 5-day challenge in 2026? So 33%, which I think is quite similar to the number that took part in 2025. And then 60% saying not sure and 8% saying no. Again, we'd like to understand how we can make them not sures and no's to take part in 5-day challenge this year or in 2026. And for Race Equality Matters to be sustainable, do you think it's fair and understandable for us to charge for the 5-day challenge? So 87% saying yes, and then 13% saying no, which is a fair reflection. Question 8, do you think it would be good for colleagues to attend a daily 5-day challenge live experience session during Race Equality Week? So 69% saying yes, only 4% saying no, and then 27% saying not sure. So thank you for sharing that. And it's something we'll look into and explore. And final question 9, would your organisation have the budget to support colleagues attending these live experience sessions at £10 per ticket? 19% saying yes, 35% saying no, and then 46% saying not sure. So thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so basically, we're going to let you all go into a small group to talk about your plans or thoughts for Race Equality Week. But just to let you know, there's a couple of events. One is an opening event and a closing event, which we'll send more information about later. We've also got a resource pack to support you. So this provides you with comms, assets, graphics, social media messages. So all this is for free for yourselves that you can access now. So basically, just going to a quick break. You have about 4 or 5 minutes. Just what could you, or what are you planning to do for Race Equality Week? So this is a chance to share with each other what you're thinking of doing. So we'll give you 3 or 4 minutes. Thank you. Can we just, what would be really helpful for us, if we can have the closing poll, that'd be really, really helpful. Thank you. And it's quite, there's a question there about saying, in Race Equality Week, is there something, a session that'd be of great interest to you? So that'll be one of the questions in this poll. And that'll be a free event. So thank you for taking part in the closing poll. So would you recommend today's event to others? So 92% saying yes, which is fantastic. And thank you all for your contributions. Question 2, did you learn anything new today? So again, further 92% saying yes, 8% saying no. And appreciate maybe you know about Race Equality Week and the 5-day challenge, etc. Did you learn and hear things you wouldn't normally have access to? So you've given up an hour, quarter of your time. So 81% saying yes, you've learned and heard things you wouldn't normally have access to, and that's important to us because the time you come here, you're not learning new stuff. Then we need to be changing our events. Question 4, did you hear or learn anything that you will use? So that's 77% saying yes, and a further 15% saying yes if you had authority. That's 92% are going to use something that they learnt or heard today. Question 5, do you think your organisation will take part in Race Equality Week? So 54% say yes, and there's a further 19%, not my decision. So let's put them together and say that becomes 73%. And then none of you are saying no. Interestingly, 27% say not sure. We'd love to know why you're not sure. Is it because you can't make the decision or there are other reasons? So thank you for that. And question 6, which topics would be good for a Race Equality Matters hosted event during Race Equality Week? So we're just trying to see what will land well. So we can see the highest ones here: how to engage more employees, which is a real challenge, that's 73%. How to measure impact, which is 62%. And recruitment and career development of ethnically diverse talent, 69%. So they're the 3 highest ones. And then we have the DEI backlash being 46%, how to engage leadership, 46%, and also a live through of the 5-day daily challenges, 42%. So thank you all for sharing that.
So we have a final get ready for Race Equality Week coming up. Do invite your colleagues, members of your networks and organisations to join with us. There's a link in the chat. If your organisation isn't already a member, now really is the perfect time to join. Membership gives you access to our Members Hub, early access to resources and solutions, events, a member badge, and around £5,000 worth of assets and content, including the 5-day challenge for free. And as we said earlier, as with all small charities, we are trying to keep the wheels turning. So if you value what we do, and 94% of you said you learned something new today, please do support us. Our jobs board helps organisations reach more diverse talent. That's about it. A huge thank you for you all to choose to spend your time with us. We appreciate that. We know everyone's got choices. A huge thank you to our speaker, Danny Mayer. Also to our partners and sponsors for all they do. If your organisation would like to donate or sponsor future events or even become a commercial partner, please do get in touch. This is to help us to keep doing what we're doing, which is driven by you and focused on impact. This is our last open event for 2025, so can we all wish you a happy, healthy and positive end to the year, and look forward to seeing you in 2026 and hearing about your Race Equality Week activities. For those of you who can stay for an extra few minutes, as Javed said, please do help us take part in sharing your thoughts on the 5-day challenge and race equality. We'd appreciate it. All this collateral means something to us, as does your support and time. So back to you, Javed. Thank you very much, everybody. Plenty to do. Weird world in which we live in, but we can all make individually a difference, which is what I hope that you'll all do with us.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Raj. Thank you.